Now, one of Nigeria's fastest growing stars, Divine Icobol, better known to you and I as Rema, has had one hell of a week, with one of his tracks hitting 1 billion streams on the streaming service Spotify. Now, the track in question is Calm Down, featuring Selena Gomez. Spotify says that the bulk of traffic leading to this billion streams milestone came from a range of countries: the United States, India, Mexico, Brazil, and the United Kingdom. Now, as a business, though, Spotify has seen double-digit user growth in 2023, with over 550 million average monthly users in Q2, roughly half of whom were premium subscribers. And that, according to Spotify, is its best ever second quarter. Revenue is up 11% to $3.4 billion. Net loss for the period, however, that more than doubled to about $320 million, or about $1.65 a share. Earlier on, I spoke to Joceylene Muhutu-Remy. She's Spotify's managing director for Sub-Saharan Africa. I started our conversation by asking her how she responded when news of hitting that billion streams milestone emerged.
It really felt like a watershed moment. We were expecting it. It was not a surprise. Actually, we were counting down to it. And we were fully aware that this was a very special moment for African music. This is a moment that symbolically tells the world that we are here. Our music is global. Our artists have as much impact and power as any other international artist. So really, it's a very, very special moment.
More often than not, like I remember the first time I ever heard Calm Down, it was on someone's Insta stories on Instagram post, or it was somewhere else on TikTok. Is that what is happening here? That a lot of this music essentially gets onto social media and then blows up in virality?
Definitely virality plays a role. And actually, this is something that at Spotify we encourage. We encourage users to share tracks on their social media. We encourage artists to do the same. Absolutely, virality does play a role. However, this is only true for the kind of tracks that have viral potential. Not every song is made for social media. Most of our usage and discovery happens directly on Spotify. As you know, our platform has this really powerful personalization and discovery features. And actually, most of the listening happens there first.
How are you handling payment issues, especially when it comes to the question of currencies and currency depreciation? That's been a big meta trend, especially in the last 2 years or so. We're seeing that in Kenya. The Kenyan shilling is down around 20% against the dollar so far this year. Nigeria had a massive adjustment in the naira as well. And presumably, if we're trying to encourage the market to essentially go towards a lot more streaming, the ability of the firm to essentially make money, to be able to pay audiences or rather pay artists, but at the same time keep the lights on in Spotify, that's entirely dependent on clients' ability to pay. And when currencies are crashing, that becomes a bit problematic. So how are you handling that?
From the consumer's perspective, this is good news because the service is really affordable. From a revenue perspective for the company, of course, we're keeping an eye on these devaluations. We're hoping that the measures that some of our governments are putting in place, will bear fruits. But the focus area for us is really on providing payment solutions that are adapted to the market. So you may know that in Kenya, we have an integration with M-Pesa, for example. We are looking at different alternative payment methods. We really want to be very close to the needs of the consumers and not come with a one-size-fits-all, solution. Here are international cards, use them, and that's it. No, we want to be much more attentive.
Podcasts and audiobooks, because Spotify is not just about music, right? Podcasts and audiobooks are also part of the product stack that the company has been pushing. There was, I believe, a push to also have a podcast original with the South African comedy artist Trevor Noah. So what are those business lines doing like, especially in not just in Nigeria and South Africa, but across the rest of the continents?
Yes. So yes, we focus on podcasts too. Last year, we launched a fund for podcasters, $100,000 that we distributed to some of the top podcasters on the continent. People people are hungry for self-expression, and our platform enables that, right? We are really here to elevate African voices. So the kind of work we do with podcasters is around teaching them how to do this work better. And Kenya, where I believe you're based, is one country where podcasting is really flourishing, and we are nurturing that on a daily basis. In terms of listenership, it's growing too. We'd like it to accelerate, so that's why we are, developing all these strategies around education of the consumer.
What sort of
And you're
listenership
asking,
numbers are we talking about with respect to podcasts then?
no, I can't share those right here because we have competitors, as you know. But I can tell you that in some countries, so South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, these are the countries where the adoption has been really very, very significant. And the themes also, what people discuss, it's extremely interesting. You would imagine, the usual themes, maybe politics, etc. But no, there's a lot of introspection. There's a lot of spirituality. There's sex education. There's, so many topics. You can tell that some people, female podcasters, for example, have found a space to really tell their truth